Good afternoon, everyone. It is Monday, September 29th, 2025. Great to be with you here. I am back from a vacation, and we are back here to come pretty close to wrapping up September. I got some great stuff for you today. It's really been like recapping the day and the week. It's really been a metals day and a metals week. We will get through all the movement here. So without further ado, I hope you've all been well and enjoying the new highs. Let me get Doc here, and we'll get right into it. So today, and we'll also, because it's been a little bit, we'll recap not only the day and the week, the last 5 days. We will also recap the past year, the top 3 leaders there. And there is kind of a new entry on number 1. So today, copper miners, we're going to talk about this. This has been a theme of the day and also the past week. Bitcoin and gold all jumped today pretty decently. We'll take a look at all those charts. While oil and energy, nasty day, those fell, and a new all-time high for gold miners, gold, and semiconductors. That is beautiful that you get those working in tandem. There's lots of traders, making money right now with those trends. You got beta, SNH ramping to new all-time highs, and then you also have the gold trade with an absolutely just a beautiful, beautiful trend in place in gold. Yes, we're talking about gold that has just a beautiful trend. And then we'll look at the past 5 days, really large advances in those copper miners. We'll look at the COPX, silver to a new 52-week high today, and natural gas. Natural gas has had a really decent week. We'll take a look at that. So without further ado, let us get to the, my panel for the day. I'll get into the moves. Really, just before we get into it here, some big moves of the day. NVIDIA up 2%. Stock looks great to about 182. Robinhood, my goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Probably there's so many great stocks in the market, depending on the risk, volatility adjustment you want, an ASTS, versus a Robinhood versus, like a Palantir. But Hood, it's hard to get bigger than that, better than that. It's up 12% to 137 nearly today. That stock is up 264% year to date and 468 year over year. It's just an absolute superstar sitting in that beautiful cross section of crypto, tech, and financials. It's really got everything going, and a nice PE on it too. In terms of growth trade, Amazon up 1.1, Google down 1, AMD up 1.2. Probably catch up trade there as well. Gold we'll talk about. What if superstar up 1.7 today? We'll get into that. Don't worry. Intel down 3%. Broadcom down 2, and Micron up 4. Micron also an amazing looking stock. Ooh, really fast on the intraday chart. So we peaked at pre-market at 6:30 a.m. Eastern time. We peaked at around 666. We were trying to make a run towards those new all-time highs here to start the day and week, and then really we sold off throughout the day. We really never really had any strength after that. After 10:30, we actually didn't even get near VWAP until the very end of the day, as you can see here, but really straddling 50 RSI on intraday chart, and we ended up closing at essentially VWAP, and the bulls essentially took it up 30 bips on the day. As I zoom out here, again, the all-time high struck on September 23rd, just 6 short days ago. We dropped right to our 21-day exponential moving average on the 25th, which was exactly the sum of 657, and here we are back up to 664. Now, what do we see for here? Really, I'm looking at my 15-day-ish cycle. You always have to kind of loosen that band a little bit when you get into new all-time highs, because there's more fervor in the line, if you will, in terms of the animal spirits. For right here, I still see a bullish accumulation cycle ending right. It's complicated, a little more art than science, because of the all-time highs coming on the 23rd. So I'll give it, let's just say the 23rd. From there, about a 15-day cycle, which takes you to about the 8th of October, on or around, for this to digest. The level I'm looking for, we always keep looking at levels. And before I signed off, let me look at my note here. I've been calling for a long time. Let me see. So I've been saying we have a date with 652 in the market. And what happened was we only got as low as 654 on the 25th, a nice little more bullishness than I even expected. As I said here, I'm still expecting for the first week into next week here, I'll say, let me see, October 8th is Wednesday of next week. I'd still say you probably have a moment there to trade down to about 656, which is $7 away from here, or nearly 1%. Absolutely doable. As you can see here as well, this market of ours has been just, you call it curve fitting here, but we've been above 47 RSI. You can round that to 50 since April 24th, just since 2 weeks off the low. So this rubber band has absolutely gone the other way. And we really got even more gusto since May 12th above that rising 200 moving average. This market looks absolutely splendid. I know folks are looking for the bottom to fall out. Guys, your rising 200 moving average is at 600. And these are, market looks decent. And like I said, into October 8th or so, I see a low around 656. That will be your entry to get in. But I like seeing what I'm seeing, especially on the closes as well. Sometimes a little bit of weakness in the morning, and then at 3:30 to 4 o'clock Eastern time, you see them ramping. Those money managers, those financial advisors are getting those orders in for clients to say, get in this by the end of day. I used to broker, and that's pretty much how things go at the end of the day. You got to get in, or what's on the line. So you got to get in at those levels. I would say by the early to middle of next week, 656. And in terms of targets, I still say right about 670. So basically just 0.5% above where we were on the 23rd. And I expect that to strike probably a week or so before Halloween. So things look decent here in terms of the market. Let's look at the moves of the day and of the week and of the year. There's been a lot to capture here. Let's go right to the source. This has been a big conversation of the day and of the past week. The copper miners, new 52-week high today. Look at this candle. This thing has been on fire since the beginning of the month, essentially since Labor Day. This breakout above $50 took us to 59 today. Took us as high as 59.84. They sold it off just a touch. Volume was really peaked on the 24th last week. It's been hot, but it still is, obviously, with an 84 RSI. Like I said, let me just zoom out here for true. So this is a new 52-week high. A lot of people love the catch-up trades. The all-time high is back in 2011. This reminds me of like that silver picture, and this is at $63. So can it get there? Sure. Look at this on a monthly candle, highest since that 2011 year. As I go out here, look how extended we are above the 21-day exponential moving average. I still think this has a decent week ahead, and they probably take this. I personally wouldn't want to chase this above $57. So I think it still has positive momentum in the next week with some zigs and zags, possibly revisits 56 handle, 58, but it probably settles somewhere around here, around 59. Metals have been the place to be. We'll look at this COPX again, but it's been a very big chart. We'll look at the huge week it's had too. It's rated up 9.5% over the past week, 4% from today. So more on that in a little bit. But new 52 weeks high for COPX. Congratulations, the biggest standard deviation mover today to a new 52-week high. Next, Bitcoin, IBIT, up 4.9, call almost 5% today. That is a big move for IBIT. It's been a little bit, dormant. We've been saying, we did say it also before. I think we were on Spaces, which I'll be on tomorrow. We're talking about, it's getting ready to go. Probably goes a little bit of dip and then a rip, which is, typically what happens in crypto. I had thought, I'll be honest, I thought the peak here on the 18th, I thought we were going to go higher than this right here. I thought it had a little bit more of a move from here at 61 to about 66. I thought it had a little bit more to go, especially with the animal spirits of the market going into all-time highs, but it was not so. All that being said, though, I do see this. This is a bearish distribution phase for crypto here, for IBIT, and I see it ending, honestly, by the end of the week. And I would say if you want to get into this puppy under $64, I think through some volatility, you will get a chance. And if you can see a 64 handle, I would pounce. I don't think you're going to get penalized with that. I think you'll be rewarded with that good entry. And my target for this towards mid to end of October is $68. So close to the all-time highs of IBIT. That was at 70, basically. So a little bit closer. Things are a little bit slowing. You can see this little, range-bound behavior between 70 and 61, essentially pretty tight for IBIT. But I do see it resolving higher, like with many assets. But IBIT, a big day, and obviously a really good year. We'll take a look at that at the end of the show. And then next, of course, how can we ignore gold? My goodness. New all-time highs today. This actually closed very close to the actual highs. Gold is right back to where we were in terms of this fervor back from February through April. And now this has been insanity since basically summer ended. Right since Labor Day, when you had this breakout in the GLD above 318, this has been a straight line to a 78 RSI, which has risen to 352 stock price today. So absolutely amazing. In terms of a setup, like I said, I like IBIT below 64.5 today. You get that invite, I would take it. GLD, this has really been some strength. And if you look at the the Chaikin money flow in terms of the closers at the end of the day, like I said, that power hour, 3 to 4 p.m. or 3:30 to 4 p.m., there has not really been a better asset from January 17th in terms of that metric. I'm looking at Chaikin money flow at the end of day. So really, since we broke above this 253 $100 ago to today's 352, it's really been amazing strength that really can help lift the RSI when you get those 3:55 p.m. orders and everyone wants to flow into them. Usually that has a follow through into the next morning. So GLD at today up 1.7%. I think through volatility, there's a possible this trend is strong as hell though, but there's a chance in the next week you get this at about 340, which is $12 off or about 3%. You wake up, you see GLD down 3% in the next week. I think it's very possible. If you get that move to about 337, which is your 21-day exponential moving average, take it. This is probably going to new highs. My target going forward for this is closer to like 360 in October. This is not look at this chart, man. Not one close, not even near the 200-day moving average. So that's something easy. A crash test dummy would say, let's get in this trend, if possible, at a mean reversion. That would be, the 21-day exponential at 337 would be a great point of entry. New all-time highs today for gold. That's what they gobbled up today. It was the copper miners, it was Bitcoin, and it was gold. What did they sell? Oil. Nasty day for USO, down almost at 3.25% is oil. I have not liked the space for a while. I do say and agree with some folks that energy is the next one. It's underinvested and this thing will pop like all the other catch-up trades. I personally, though, I'm looking at my cycles here. This to me ends tomorrow. It started on the 15th of September, right here from one second, where's my candle? Right around here. Around $73, and I would say this has a shot to get to about 78. And truly, on Friday got to 78, and now we're down 74.5. Now what? I think this has an ugly 2 weeks. I think it has begun today, and I think this traverses lower to head towards over the next 2 weeks. This looks like it's headed to about $72, and it's going to have a still more difficulty with this 200-day moving average, even though it is rising at about 2 cents a day. I guess technically there's worse places you can be in, but just personally don't like that. Look out. This 200-day will very likely buckle over the next 2 weeks. I think that's very, very, I don't want to say safe to say because markets are crazy, but this doesn't look like it's going to get flow in the next 2 weeks. And I very likely see a 72 handle right where my cursor is and a low at about 71 even. I think 71 would hold, and that would take you back to those very those August lows. All right. And then, like I said, I don't want to make this the energy sell-off show, but XLE and USO are the only things, obviously, of course, they're correlated. We'll take a look at the energy chart, which looks closer, a little less messy than, it still looks bad, but you see this 200-day moving average. This is actually falling, meaning the other chart, USO, is actually a little bit stronger, which I'd rather be in. These guys, bottomed, energy complex bottomed with the SPY, April 9th. Just doesn't look so good. I also think we hit a high here locally at the 93. And over the next 2 weeks, this doesn't look so swell. I would say we get to at least $89, which is $1 away. And more than likely, 200 moving average is at 86.90, call it $87. I really I'm not so certain that holds. This looks like there's a chance this wants to get to $85. So that 200-day moving average, I think, will still be a limbo. I'm not a big believer in falling 200-day moving averages for breakouts and resolutions higher. I'll be late to the party on that one. So XLE today down 1.8, not the place to be. It was copper miners, Bitcoin, and gold. If you're short oil and energy, congratulations. Top 3 gainers of the past 5 days. If you have a ticker or something, put it in there. I'll take a look. It's been a while, and things have moved quite a bit. Top three gainers the past 5 days. If I were to give you my forecast and such, we're not going to kick a dead horse. COPX, number one area in ETF land to have been in for the past 5 days, up 10%. In the past 5 days, or average of 2% a day. Today, bucking that 2X, doing 4%. COPX looks absolutely wonderful. Standing room only, essentially, to buy for the past 4 weeks. Absolutely wackadoo. Next one, I know a lot of people are in this trade. Silver, second best trade ETF to have been in for the past 5 days, including today, up 6% for the past 5 days, or a little bit more than 1% a day. This is a new 52-week high today. Similar, like the copper miners, obviously metals related correlation. Silver entered the RSI overbought phase here on September 2nd, and we're still here. So it's very similar. 4 weeks of standing room only. Once it's breaking above 37, it took us to 43 today. Again, as I zoom out here, the all-time high is back in. We had a huge metal craze in 2011, if you recall. So that, by the way, is at $48. It's $6 away. What do we think right here of silver? I'm guessing it's probably exactly what we saw in gold. Yeah, so I would not chase this here. I think over the next 2 weeks, you'll get some mean reversion here, just slightly. But this has also great flows. Not so much since January like gold, but really this catch-up trade grew starting right around May 1st. Really, really nice closes here from that 3:30 to 4 o'clock hour starting here. And especially, this was a huge gap up this June 4th. Once you had this breakaway above 31.5, that was going north. That's easy to tell. And then I think we also called it, or we talked about it here early summer as well about that. Over the next 2 weeks, I would wait to about 38.75. You get that, you take it. You're having beautiful confirmation here. RSI going higher, 82. It looks absolutely splendid. Could we see short-term 43, 44 first? Yeah, sure. Over the next 2 weeks, though, if you get that move to about 39 even, you should get involved. And you could do it silver. The options are cheap in this. Obviously, liquid as well. You could do December call spreads. I probably prefer gold. But the silver looks great. Silver miner is also great. Silge, a little less liquid on that. Probably have to do the cash equity. And the next best place to have been in for the past week. So it's copper miners, silver, that's commodities, another commodity. So it's not just straight semis and things like that. It's nat gas up 5.5% over the past week, up 2.8% today. This thing, Yahtzee, has really, you can have been patient with it, but as of June 24th, really folks really went into the market, more beta related products. And look, you can't even really hold 50 RSI. It was tempting here on the 9th and trying to do it again here on the 16th. And now it's had a decent week, averaging almost 1% a day. Let's see, is it over or is there more to it? I think this is a decent pickup here just for a tactical trade. I think if you get in this, ideally before today's run up, under 1270. So if you can get 1% off from here, I know it looks like we're nitpicking. Just for you home gamers, UNG bottomed August 26th at 1171. And now it's had, hit its head at 1345, and now very close to those low levels again. And now here we are. I like a pickup under 1270. I do think it has a very good chance over the next 2-ish weeks to get to about 13.5. And to me, that's a trade. It used to be a lot more meat on that bone in that gas, but it's got a decent week. It probably does move. I'm seeing some smaller, assets, smaller capital asset stuff move like cannabis and more spec stuff like nat gas. For a tactical trade, sure, especially when we're within 1% of all-time highs, the risk spec is high, especially when you see microcaps leading and other global indices. So the risk flavor is strong. But again, like I said, this probably takes it to about, even if you get that vol expansion, there's no such thing really as a triple top. So it probably breaks this out. You're not getting the 16.5, maybe 14, but I don't think it's going to 14 tops. Like I said, for the next 2 weeks, probably sell the 14 calls. Be careful though, this thing rips. You could also sell the 12 puts, but it's probably not going to pay you a lot. Or you could buy the common. Top 3 losers of the past 5 days. And I had to squint for this. The returns in terms of COPX, silver, and nat gas to the upside were multiples of what we're talking about now to the downside. The biggest loser over the past week has been uranium. And it's not a ton. It's 3.7%. And it was actually up 60 bips today. This hit highs last week at $51. And the next day it went to 46. So a fast mover. And since then, really, it's had a nasty week, but it had a lot of strength going into it. I think the digestion will continue for the next week and a half or so to about $45. I think that's incoming. So I wouldn't personally chase this yet. I don't really want to sell calls either. I'll probably just wait for my entry here to about truly right around $45, $46. And then I'll get into uranium, a great looking chart, especially since May, and it gives you some commodity exposure. Not straight, just copper miners or silver. It gives you a little bit something different in the whole uranium story, and I think that will work. Not a great week though for it. Next, second worst place to be was India. So it's not all global markets rising. India down 2.5% over the past 5 days. Chart looks not so great today. Digestion just down 15 bips. I think this is going to try and bottom this week right around 52 even. I think this will hold right around here. Maybe, a couple pennies, 51.5. But I do think, for example, that May low will hold at 51.25. And then what happens over the next 2-ish weeks? A bit of a dead cat bounce. And I do think it takes it to about 53.5. So not, a ton there. Maybe a 2-month out call spread. Maybe something like December, but it's probably better trades. Again, don't love falling 200-day moving averages. This is not right for me in terms of a comeback or turnaround trade just yet. Also, the RSI is 37, so folks are really not lining up to buy India yet. Second worst place to be after uranium in the past week. And then the third worst place to have been in, down 2.33%. And it was up today as well, up 0.5%. The Jets or the global airlines down 2.3%. It's had kind of a nasty week. This has been before a good space. You can make money in the airlines, very obviously consumer related. I think it bases here this week right around 24.5. I don't think that 200-day moving average will be in jeopardy. It is flat now at 23.74. I think that 24.75 low will hold. I think it bases there this week. And I think you have a nice 2 weeks. Probably will frustrate, but I think this has a nice 2 weeks, and it takes you to about $26. So again, about what is that? $1 or 4%. So yeah. It really depends on the spaces of where we're getting, alpha from these trades. And also I like seeing the stochastic momentum mix bottom at similar levels. Kind of gives me confidence in terms of trades of where we're exhausting ourselves to the downside. I think it bases this week, like I said, with a 24 handle, like that 200-day moving average. And I do think we start to head higher. The moving averages are going lower, the shorter terms, but I do think it will resolve higher. So those were the losing places to be this week: uranium, India, and airlines. To wrap up the week, top 3 trades of the past 5 days, all to the long side. They were long copper miners, long silver, and long nat gas. If you had those 3, you were absolutely killing the ETF suite, crypto, schmipto, whatever. It was copper miners, silver, and nat gas long. Best week, you killed it. Now, top 3 trades of the past 52 weeks. Number 1. GDXJ, 98%. This thing is a double year over year. I love this trade, and there's also catch up. GDX is hitting all-time highs today with gold's trend obviously in perfect symmetry and momentum here. The GDXJ has a catch-up trade going back to those 2011. I'll put it up here. There's still more room to go back from 2010. This can go to 179. So I believe, look at this. In catch-up trades, we're going to probably get to par, as you typically see. The RSI has never been higher in the GDXJ, and this is your leader year over year. Things look absolutely great. Now, do you chase it here, or what do you do? Similar story, like gold are obviously correlated. I think it has a good week. I would not chase it here. A good entry would be around $89 to $90. You're going to have to wait 10% off. We've been chanting and pounding the table on this. This thing is fuming right now. Again, since it's breakout here, this gap up on September 2nd, above $80, it just went one way. I do like a mean reversion down to $90, but you're going to have to be really patient, maybe over the next 2 weeks. But that is your leader year over year. It's not IBIT. It's not FXI. It's GDXJ from last September 29th through today, up 98%. 98%. Say it again. 90%. Number 2 is ARC. That's right. ARC at 78%. So you lose some alpha there. GDX, by the way, the big GDX, which did an all-time high today, is just a little bit lower in returns than GDXJ. Hence why I went with GDXJ. But GDX is, more liquid. They're both pretty liquid for options, even if you want to do leaps and whatnot. Here is the ARC. This is not an all-time high. You have to get back to the 2021 crazy COVID days. This was trading 160. It's at 86. Is this a double? Possibly. She's long Roblox, Tesla, Coinbase, and things like that. New 52-week high, though, today is ARC. Again, reminder, some folks, family offices cannot buy straight out crypto, so they buy ARC for that kind of exposure. Yes, if new 52-week high today, I wouldn't chase it here. I think a little bit of I think some foot will come off the gas, if that makes sense, for ARC over the next 2 weeks. I think this has had a beautiful run, and I like that breakout above 79. But a better entry for me is right around 80 even, with about an 87 target. So give this one about 10-ish days. I love ARC, and Kathy would wait for about $80 entry in about a week and a half, and then you're going to be in the second best trade of the entire year after GDXJ, which was 98%, ARC 78%. And then number 3, I'm saying this one's getting ready to go, is IBIT. It's just a touch behind ARC, hence that correlation what the family offices are doing, is IBIT. Like we said before, I think this is going to base right around this week, right around 60 even, potentially a little bit more volatility. It's had a decent day today of 5%. We'll see if that low is in place. I think it is at 61, but I'm bracing myself for a little bit of volatility if it wants to revisit that. You saw a volatile weekend for crypto, so I'm not ruling out a move to 61. But like I said, I love entries under 64. I think they will reward you. And then, like I said, short term for the next 2-ish weeks, you probably get to about $68, and those new all-time highs for Bitcoin, I think, coming later in October. But that is your third leader year over year, is IBIT up 73%. All right. It was wonderful to be with y'all. We will be back on, I think, Wednesday for a stock edition, and we'll recap what's been going on in that space. All right. Peace.